We've got this year at the Westmoreland project about 4,000 meters of diamond drilling planned across a multitude of targets. The first of which is Amphitheatre, and from there we move on to Long Pocket and Warrabagoo, and then another one of our exploration targets called Black Hills. And we're starting the program at Amphitheatre, which is an exploration target which we did a little bit of drilling at in 2022. So we'd like to follow up on some of those intercepts and really try and understand the architecture of the geology there, because there's a mafic unit at play which is controlling mineralization, but to date not much drilling's actually defined where that is. So it's tantalizing, but some excellent historical drilling intercepts exist. So we'll be following up those. And the reason we're kicking that one off first is just the proximity to our field base this year. We had a huge wet season, so access into the project areas has been difficult and later than usual. So this is the easiest and the easiest. Long Pocket's had a significant amount of drilling historically, but no one's ever modelled it up fully into a sort of a JORC compliant or NI 43-101 compliant resource. And so the intention there is to build on the historical drilling and then step out away from where we know that there is mineralization, and then towards the end of the year actually run a first maiden resource estimation on that, and that will then build into the global resource at Westmoreland. It was last drilled in 2012 and got some excellent results. Ultimately, 2012 there was a severe downturn in the uranium market, as you're aware, and so the results there were never followed up, and the program itself wasn't sort of fully executed. And so there's some obvious zones which we see potential for step outs from the known resource, and so I guess that's what you'd consider low-hanging fruit in the exploration world. And then beyond the uranium story, there are some significant gold intercepts as well, which we'd like to understand better. The history of the Murphy project is that BHP sort of dominated the exploration in the 70s out there. And the Murphy Inlier itself is prospective for not just uranium, but critical minerals such as tin, tungsten, copper, and there's significant gold in the region as well. And we've also had some drill hits in the Murphy region back in 2006 with some vanadium. So broadly speaking, that geological belt is prospective for all sorts of critical minerals, which are obviously high on Australia's sort of agenda for trying to promote and discover. So that's something that we're investigating. We've got significant known resources of uranium in Queensland, but that's not to say we know where it all is. There's a lot more exploration scope there. There's targets which I recall visiting in 2008, which have never been revisited. It's a long time ago. And yeah, my background is that I worked with Laramide back between 2006 and 2009, when we did a large resource drill out with heli drilling at Westmoreland, and that got the resource to where it is today. As you mentioned, there was a bit of a downturn, and so limited exploration's been done sort of subsequent to that resource update. The PEA was done. There's been a lot of geophysics done, but fairly limited drilling. So in order to step up and drill a lot of these targets, we basically needed to build a team. So to do that, we've engaged a number of geologists who have experience in the region, some of whom have worked on the project before, and we've got a significant experienced field team to back up the geologists as well. So we've now got about 10 of us on the ground, and given we want to drill 4,000 meters this year and concurrently do the greenfields exploration on the Murphy side in the Northern Territory, we kind of have to have a decent sized team. Excited, it's yeah, very exciting to finally get in and drill, drill out Long Pocket to the point where we will be able to put a maiden resource on it. Horrabagoo, has always been intriguing with the gold, and similarly some possible easy extensions, should I say. Amphitheatre, again, historic results which are really exciting and close to some good infrastructure. And Murphy is wide open. I mean, it hasn't been explored since the 70s properly, so that's where there could be a lot of upside. So we've got this amazing position where we have advanced projects with resources. We've got projects which we can promote up to resource level, and then we've got greenfields which we'd like to bring along and ultimately define some targets to drill in 2020. So in Queensland, as you're aware, the uranium policy is not currently in our favour, in that we can't mine uranium. However, you can apply for a mineral development license, an MDL, and what that does is it basically secures the asset, which means that you're not subject to the usual exploration tenure relinquishment requirements. And it signals our intent that should there be a policy change in the near future, that we would progress very quickly to a mining lease. And we're doing a lot of work in the background there to make sure we've got everything teed up, ready to go, as and when that happens. The two leases on the Queensland side basically encompass the Westmoreland project, so it gives us, again, a bit more tenure security and access. Not only that, there's 5 or 6 uranium occurrences which sit within one of those tenements, so they're not just strategic holds. There's some targets on there, but also we see the Westmoreland conglomerate, which hosts the Westmoreland uranium deposits, sort of dive undercover. So we've got possibility for buried deposits undercover, under recent alluvial cover to the east, and then to the south, we've secured, or at least applied for, the ground to the south of Westmoreland, and that actually hosts tin, tungsten, and uranium prospects, but they're more associated with this Murphy inlier geology. So when we're excited about the geology on the Northern Territory side, the geology doesn't care where the border is. It continues on into Queensland, and so all the things we're excited about in the Northern Territory continue into Queensland, but we've never really considered that historically. So it's nice to at least have that ground in application, and when it's granted, we'll get on the ground and go and bash some rocks.